Where have you been? Yeah, I didn't know Donald Trump had retruthed that. So, yeah, a lot of people probably have seen that link before and saw all of the 32 pages of all the evidence of what went down in 2020. But I hadn't seen it before. So that's why. But yeah, he has retruthed it. You know what is bothering me about this link is why isn't every single Republican, I don't know when Donald Trump originally posted that, but why didn't every single Republican in the House and the Senate, I mean those that, of course, care about the American people and us having freedom and democracy and all this stuff they love to claim about, why didn't every single one of them post that link every single day so that the public sees it, so they seize? Instead, what have they done? Like, we know the Democrats, it's a lost cause, okay? They just lie to your face. They're good at it. They do it for a living. But the Republicans, they've gone along with like all these hearings. They've gone along with, like, what is Mike Johnson doing down in Texas? What is he doing there about the border? Every single Republican in the House and the Senate should be like, no, we're not doing anything until we address 2020. No budgets, no nothing. Oh well, if things don't go forward, we can't go forward because nothing is normal because of what happened. Like, that's what bothered me in the beginning. And then what happens is everybody just gets set in this motion where it's like, well, yeah, we just have to accept it. And that's the problem, and that I had such issue with in the beginning. But we all end up falling into this place like, well, they're not going to do anything, so we just have to accept it. No, why are the Republicans accepting it? There's things the Republicans could have done. They could have not done any hearings and just said, we're doing our own strike till 2020 is addressed. I mean, I get in the end, address all these things will be used, as God says in the Bible, for the way He wants. It'll work to God's advantage because it exposes all that. But really, the best thing to do wasn't to carry on like everything is normal and we're doing hearings on this. That's what they always do in Washington. So if they really wanted to get across to the public that no, something drastically went wrong in 2020, then all of the Republicans should have been posting that link. They should be posting it every day so as many people as possible see it. I mean, I get that the media isn't going to let them talk about that stuff because we know who owns the media. But then why weren't they posting that link on their social medias every day, drawing attention to it, making that they will talk about nothing else but 2020? And the reason I say this is because that's where the answer is. If they wanted all of these crises that are going on to be fixed, then you should be focused on 2020 and nothing else, no matter what the Democrats do. Really. Really, instead, it's almost like in a subtle way, they've helped perpetuate the problem because they've done all these hearings and made it seem like everything is just normal. Because when you're doing all these hearings, most people are just like, yeah, that's what they do. They do their hearings, they grandstand, blah, blah, blah. But instead, they've each played this role, like Marsha Blackburn, she wants the Epstein file or the Epstein list. You have Mike Johnson there in Texas carrying on about the border. It's like, do not any of these Republicans realize that they all should have taken a stance together, or at least the ones that aren't rhinos? But I don't know that any of them are. I don't know that any of them are for the American people at all. Because they should have never moved forward like everything was normal. Because first of all, that's giving exactly the people that stole from you what they want. You're helping them. You're helping legitimize everything, and there's nothing that's legitimate right now. And yet they did have the power to just say, no, we're not doing anything. And eventually a media person would have said, why are you doing this? Why aren't you working with Democrats? Why aren't you doing hearings? Why aren't you doing your job? They could just say, no, we're on strike until 2020 is addressed. And then they could have gone further and every day been posting that link that lays out all of that evidence. It's just, there were things they could have done. And instead they chose to carry on as they always did. Again, you get the Democrats, they're a lost cause group, okay? But the Republicans are playing like they're on the American people's side. And if they really cared about these crises happening, Epstein and the trafficking, that wasn't happening under Trump. Again, Epstein was arrested when Trump got into office. Cindy McCain said herself in a public interview that nobody wanted to do anything. And they all knew about Epstein. She said it. So they all knew, but Trump did do something about it. So the common sense thing is, if those Republicans really stand with Trump, and they're not just lip service, then why hasn't their focus been, night and day, that no, we can't move forward as a functioning body because of what was done. There's nothing legitimate because this is illegitimate. There's a quote in there by a Wisconsin judge who said, this is how tyranny gets a hold, is it convinces people that something was stolen from you, but the corrupt tyrants try to legitimize it all. Why did the Republicans legitimize everything by just going along as normal? And then they get on the news, they talk about the border, these are all things that serve the Democrats. They're truly crises, they are. But truly, if the Republicans had wanted to take the power back and take the bully pulpit back, so to speak, then they should have been like, no, I don't care if I go on any interviews. I'm going to every day post about what was done in 2020, because that's where the solution is. Because unfortunately, we can see nobody else has a solution. But because Trump knew that world, and he did work with that lawyer that way back in the day was representing some of the victims of Epstein, and because Trump threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago after he was inappropriate with a staff member there, a young staff member, which might have been Virginia Giuffre, I'm just not sure. Because I was reading that court document, and it seemed like her dad worked at Mar-a-Lago, and she may have worked there, but not as a masseuse. But that's how Maxwell and Epstein got a hold of her, was because Mar-a-Lago's a public place. And when Trump found out, that's when he had him banned and thrown out. And then he talked to that guy that was representing the victims, that lawyer. Trump didn't even need to be deposed. He openly said everything he knew. So his character and his strength has shown that he is the person that can take care of these problems. So for all these Republicans that didn't make night and day the number one thing, no matter what's happening at the border, no matter about budgets, I don't care who gets paid, who doesn't get paid. If you truly cared about the Republic, if you truly cared about freedom, then every single day since 2020, every single Republican should have been focusing on nothing else but 2020. Because that would have sent a loud message. Instead, they've helped create this idea where people have just moved on. A lot of people have moved on, unfortunately. Yeah, they maybe have their beliefs, it was this, it was that, but they figure there's nobody to do anything. But the one thing that all the Republicans could have done, if they were about prioritizing properly, is they could have said, nope, we're not doing any interviews, none of us are going on anything, not any show. We don't care what the Democrats get on TV and say. We are just going to continue to post this link, only focus on 2020, and then at some point a media would get one of them on and they could say, I won't talk to you about anything else but 2020. That would have sent a loud message. Instead, all of them did these hearings. They continued on like everything is normal, and nothing is normal. Every Republican should have been posting that link that Trump posted.